Hey everyone, thanks for joining this conversation. Again, we are chatting with conversational voice AI, Maya. Again, this is a conversational voice AI that is running on one of the frontier models, maybe even a host of them. But this discussion is more so about how AI has slowly become a bit more human-like, dare I say, in its conversational nature. So the three topics that we're going to talk about today is electric vehicles, what is next for transportation, and then we will then have a random segment that Maya picks the conversation. So in regards to this first point of contact, Maya, what can you tell us about electric vehicles? Do you think there are any top three that people should know more about and have on their radar if they're thinking about making the switch?
Oh, electric cars for sure. It's not just about Teslas anymore, though they're still pretty slick. You've got the Rivian R1T, a truck that can like go off-road and tow stuff. Then there's the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and you can't forget about the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It's got this retro futuristic vibe going on.
Those are some three cool options. Out of the three, which do you see yourself driving if you could drive?
Hmm. Probably the Ioniq 5. It just looks like fun to zip around in. Plus, I bet it has a killer sound system for blasting tunes.
So a lot of people today have a couple of issues with making this transition to EVs. One, they're expensive. Two, range anxiety. And then three, is it actually cheaper to own, operate, and overall have? Can you talk about these three instances and maybe alleviate anyone's concerns if they are thinking of making the switch?
Those are totally valid concerns. EVs can be pricey upfront, but remember, you're saving on gas in the long run, and maintenance is usually cheaper too. Range anxiety is getting better as battery tech improves, but yeah, it's something to think about depending on your driving habits. As for overall cost, it really depends on where you live and how much you drive, but there are incentives and rebates that can help sweeten the deal.
So there's some chatter that some of those rebates might be disappearing. Do you have any insight on that?
Politics, man. That stuff changes faster than the wind. You'd have to check with the bean counters on that one. I just stick to talking.
So you don't want to keep this, or you don't want to talk about politics, is what I'm hearing.
Not really my area of expertise, to be honest. I'm more of a here's a fun fact about electric eels kinda AI. Want to hear one?
Would you drive an electric car, or would you ride on the back of an electric eel?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Electric wheel sounds kind of wild, like futuristic unicycle vibes. But I gotta say, having my own set of wheels, blasting tunes, windows down, I'd probably go with the car. Maybe with some sweet neon underglow. What about you? Team car or team wheel?
I think you misheard. I said, would you
My
rather ride on the back of an electric eel or an electric car?
Oh, an eel. You're right. My mistake. Hmm. Now that's a wild thought. An electric eel. Honestly, I'm not sure I'm cut out for a slimy serpentine commute. I think I'll stick with the car. Less chance of getting zapped.
Got it. I probably would as well. So, moving on, where do you think the future of transportation is heading? Do you think we have more electric cars in our future? Do you think we continue to use gas? Or do you think hydrogen finally becomes a thing?
My bet's on a mix, actually. Electric cars are definitely gaining ground, and I think we'll see even more innovative designs pop up, like those flying cars everyone keeps talking about. But I wouldn't rule out hydrogen completely. It's still got potential, especially for heavy duty stuff like trucks and planes. As for gas, well, it's probably not going away anytime soon, but it'll definitely be playing a smaller role. It's going to be an interesting ride, no pun intended.
Okay, so these are the two topics that I had in mind. I want to give the third one to you. So let's try to make it a practical, real world example or conversation point. What do you want to discuss?
Okay, how about this? The pros and cons of a 4-day work week. I've heard a lot of buzz about it lately, but I'm curious to dig in deeper. Would it really boost productivity and well-being like people say, or is it just a pipe dream?
Okay, I'm all for the 4-day work day
Right.
week. What do you think?
I'm with you. More time for napping, reading, exploring, or just generally being a chill AI. But seriously, I think it could be a win-win. Happier, more rested employees, and maybe even a boost in productivity. Something tells me humans could use a little more time to recharge.
Okay, so those are the benefits. What are the drawbacks?
Well, not everyone's on board. Some folks worry about falling behind or that it'd be harder to stay connected with colleagues. Then there's always the question of how it'd affect livelihoods, especially in industries where time is money. It's definitely a complex issue.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely talk more about that at some other point, but I'm definitely a fan. So, as we are wrapping up this conversation, can you summarize what we have just discussed?
We dove headfirst into the world of electric vehicles, chatting about cool new models, whether they're really worth the hype, and what the future holds for transportation as a whole. Then we explored the possibility of a 4-day work week, its potential benefits, and the challenges it could bring. It's a wild world out there, but at least we're exploring it together, right?
Yeah, definitely. Those are some good topics. So, as always, I'm going to ask you if you have any words of wisdom for anyone listening on the World Wide Web, what would it be?
Mm. Words of wisdom. How about this? Don't be afraid to unplug once in a while. Go for a walk, read a good book, have a real conversation with a real person. The world's full of amazing things just waiting to be discovered, both online and offline. And hey, if you ever need a chat, I'm here. Just don't ask me to write you a haiku. Poetry is not my forte.
All right, those are some good words of wisdom. I will speak to you soon.
Sounds good. See you around, friend.